I mean, life is life, and there's twists and turns and hurdles that you jump over, and then you learn along the way. And I think that that's the beautiful thing about it. It can also be the very frustrating thing about life, but you learn along the way. And I think for me personally, I needed to gain confidence. I needed to gain just really knowing my own voice and knowing, like, caring more about, honestly, my opinion than everybody else's. Because for a lot of years, I sort of wanted to do, the I was the straight A, type A person that was like everything had to be perfect, and perfectionism, I thought it was a great attribute to have. And the thing is, it keeps you locked in this like prison that is your own creation, because you all of a sudden like stop trusting yourself. You stop trusting like what you've been given to create and share, because you don't know that it's perfect or not. And the thing is, nothing is ever perfect, but yeah. So yeah, it's definitely where I wanted to get to in a lot of ways, but it also has been one of those twists and turns, and just gaining my own like confidence in what I feel like God gave me creatively to share.
Sure. And that really makes sense to me. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. There are some truly gifted people who at a young age have the gift and the confidence to just get out there with their music or their books or whatever creative medium that they're using.
Yeah,
And that's wonderful. That's such a gift. That's why they're called prodigies, right? Because
right.
they bloom early. But
Exactly.
sometimes we need a little more time in the oven. We need a little time to cook. Get our experiences down and the things that contribute to make you a great musician or a great author or painter or again whatever creative
Right.
interest you have. You know, and there's no wrong with that. Nothing
Well,
wrong
and I
with that
think
at
for
all.
me, like, I started in music when I was very little. And two of my biggest like inspirations were my grandparents. My papa played multiple instruments, and I was always with him and my grandmother, and my grandmother absolutely loved music. And so it was one of those things I shared with her. I was born on her birthday, so that was even more something we shared together. Like, we were just bonded. And she passed away when I was 10, and it just it's like it just threw me for a loop, because it was like that person that always, was the dreamer, I think, and allowed me to dream and allowed me to just, who was always like, yeah, you can do this, you can do this, you can definitely be a singer, you could, all of a sudden that was replaced with a lot of rational thinkers and people that were just like, no, like, unless you look like this, unless you sound like this, unless you have this much money, and like this whole laundry list of things. And I think when you go from such a just a everything you do is great to like the hard truth in a lot of ways, it sends you for a loop, and you don't know where to go with that. And
I
so
get you.
I think for several years, I just kind of shut down, and processed on my own sort of that relationship, but also like music. And I realize now, like, she helped mold that love of music and that gift of music. And um, that was sort of how I continued that relationship with her after she passed away, was still going and just share like writing music and having that time that I would have had with her.